Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and yes, once again I have this firearm out of the safe. You guys might recognize it. It is a gun that used to be a braced pistol, which is now legally an SBR because I Amnesty registered it with the ATF under the Pistol Brace Amnesty. And I already know some people are already upset and typing frantically in the comments. And I just wanted to talk about some updates that I've had to help you guys make your most informed decision, which, by the way, as I am filming this video right now, it is May the 21st, 2023. So you only have 10 days as of me filming this video right now to decide what you're going to do. And before I say anything about what I have noticed and the updates that I have, I want to say and reiterate again that whatever decision you decide to make, whether you're going to comply or not comply, whether you're going to register or not register, whether you're going to do whatever it is, destroy the gun, turn in the gun, take off the brace, I don't care. I support your decision 100%, no matter what that decision is, because I'm a libertarian and I believe you have the right to make the best choices for you based off of the information that you have at that time. And that's what this whole video series has been about, is just to give you guys the best information possible. But unfortunately, I'm coming to you guys today with some bad news. And that bad news is, I told you so. When I started making this video series a while back, I mentioned there's probably not going to be any help coming from the courts. And here we are, 10 days out. People are waiting. Well, all these legal scholars are telling me it's going to be overturned. The courts are going to stop this. There's going to be injunctions. I'm going to wait 60 days or 90 days. And then 90 days rolled around. People are like, I'm going to wait 15 more days. And then here we are, literally 10 days out, and no court is taking this up. I was told that I was stupid in many videos ago because I said, there's no cases coming up that is going to stop this. And they said, you're not watching the right YouTubers. You need to go watch these legal scholars. Yeah, the ones that every day say, groundbreaking Supreme Court decision decided by 6-3 is overturning the bump stock ban and the braced pistol rule. It's all over, huge win. And honestly, nothing is happening. It's just clickbaity stuff. There's no groundbreaking decision. There's no huge update. There's nothing coming because our courts work too slow. And most of the judges that are going to be overseeing these cases, whether they were nominated by Republicans or Democrats, care more about the government and government power than they do the Constitution and your freedoms. That's just the whole cycle. That's where we're going, whether you like it or not. And I talked about this in a video where I said why we're going to lose our gun rights in the end. It's just inevitable. I'm not saying it because I want it to happen. I'm just saying it because that is the trend. And as I've made this video series, I began to notice that the types of comments and what people were saying in the comments have changed over time, and almost universally so. And I made a realization a couple of days ago that gun owners across the country are going through the 5 stages of grief. If you've ever gone through grief, you might be aware of these stages. And then I realized that's exactly what's happening. And different people are on different times when it comes to going through these different steps. But I wanted to talk about them and what I think inevitably is going to happen. The first stage of grief, of course, is denial. And a lot of the comments when I first made these videos were, the ATF can't do this, it's unconstitutional, the ATF can't create law. And I said, well, have you ever gone to a gun shop or a gun show and bought a firearm and filled out an ATF 4473? Well, the contents of that form and the questions they ask are not laid out in law. That form was created through regulation by the ATF. Yeah, it's not law, it's a regulation that Congress authorized that department to create. And this is no different. When people started to use braces as stocks, well, we all know this was a gray area, and it was a workaround. And no, it didn't run afoul of the letter of the law, but it ran afoul of the spirit of the law, and that law being the National Firearms Act. Well, we all knew this day was coming. You're in denial about it. It's almost the same thing when it comes to bump stocks or FRT triggers. We all knew these were NFA workarounds, and eventually they're going to get around to somehow banning them or saying that they're illegal and calling them out for essentially what they were, and then everyone gets all upset. So everyone went through this denial. The ATF can't create law. Well, just because you say it doesn't mean that it's fact. It doesn't mean that the government isn't going to treat it as such, or your fellow Americans who aren't gun owners aren't going to believe it. It just means that you're in denial about reality. And then, of course, the next stage of grief is anger. It's the worst stage, in my opinion, and that's the one where everybody was going after gun YouTubers like myself, calling me every name under the book, when I was just trying to give you guys good information, and to go through the process of Amnesty registering this particular gun because there were so many rumors out there about what they're going to do. The ATF's going to come to your door and confiscate it. They're going to arrest you and kill your dog. Well, here I am almost 120 days later, and I'm still alive. My dog is alive, and I never had the ATF come to my door. But regardless, people were mad at me. They called me every name under the book. And if they weren't just mad at me, they were mad at the government and mad at the ATF. And they would say things like, well, if the ATF comes to get my guns, they're going to get the bullets first. And I have to say, I'm really glad none of that ever transpired, that nobody ever got that upset and took their firearms and did any harm to anybody else. It was a lot of talk. And I understand people were angry, and rightfully so. I was angry too. But living in a world of anger is no way to live. And then over time, they reached the next stage, the bargaining stage. Well, all these gun YouTubers, the legal ones, are saying help is on the way. The courts are going to save us. We're going to bargain with them. Yes, I'm bargaining with somebody. Just give me an injunction. Do this, do that. Yeah, it's not going to happen. You bargained with politicians. Yes, there were politicians that said things out loud, saying, we're going to hold hearings on this. Or they brought the ATF director in front of Congress and said, you can't do this. And they wagged their finger. This was all part of the bargaining stage. You guys thought that somehow you would debate them and this would all go away. The courts would step in. The ATF director would stop when pressed in Congress. And no, the bargaining stage didn't work either. And then after the bargaining stage, of course, comes depression. You're starting to realize that the world is going to look very different now. People start to think, well, what am I going to do? Am I really going to have to give up my guns? Are they going to come confiscate them? I can't believe this has happened. I'm so sad. I'm so depressed. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I think a lot of people in this stage just kind of stopped watching videos. The only videos they really seem to watch and interact with are the ones that were lying to them, the ones that were the clickbaity ones, saying, groundbreaking, huge win, update, Supreme Court 6-3 decision strikes down NFA. And you watch the video and that's not actually what's happening. It's just all speculative information. And then you're right back where you began. And then finally, the last stage of grief is acceptance. Yeah, that's when the rubber hits the road and you have to decide, what am I actually going to do here? You have lots of options. There's a few I would recommend not doing. I would not turn in any firearm to the ATF, nor would I destroy any firearm. But if you don't want to amnesty register your gun, or you live in a state where you can't do that and that's not an option, you can simply just take off the brace. No, it's not as fun to shoot without the brace, but you still have the value in the firearm, the monetary value that you bought it for. It's still your gun. They're not even going to come to your house. They have nothing on that gun except the 4473 that you filled out when you purchased it. So really, nothing has happened. Yes, they're saying you can't attach that pistol stabilizing brace, and I'd be upset about that. I'd be sad about that, yes. But I think that's an okay option. Or you can amnesty register it and go, you know what? I already own silencers. I already own SBRs or SBSs. I already have all these things. What's the point in not complying with this? Now I'm able to put on a proper stock, put on a vertical foregrip if I want. I don't have to worry about it. I'm in compliance. If one day I don't want to have this, I don't want to sell it as just a pistol again, well, I can delist it from the NFA. I can take off the stock and sell it just as a pistol. You can still do that. They haven't confiscated it, they haven't devalued it. You can always sell it as an NFA item. You can transfer it to your heirs upon your death, whether it be in a trust or as an individual on a Form 5, tax exempt. You have lots of options. And that's what I've noticed. I have been getting a lot of emails from people saying, okay, there's only 15 days left. How do I do this? And I'm like, listen, that's not what my video series is about, and I can't show you that. But I can show you other videos of other YouTubers that have gone through this process. But the later you wait, more likely the system is going to be down. The website is going to be down because so many people are going to be logging on to the website. So there's a lot of people now in my video series that I can tell has gone through all stages of grief and are now in the acceptance stage. So I know some of you are asking yourselves, well, what does the future hold? Well, as I've told you, I'm pessimistic about the future of gun rights. I think we're going to lose them all eventually. But look at machine guns. We went through this back in 1986, and here we are. Machine guns are banned. Courts never overturned it. Then it came to the bump stock ban. And guess what? Despite what other gun YouTubers have told you, well, in the 5th Circuit and the 6th Circuit, they've overturned it. Go watch these videos. Well, if you actually go and watch those videos, the courts actually didn't overturn the bump stock ban. They simply sent the case back down to the lower courts where they were originally upheld and said, do it over. So we're still waiting. You still can't buy a bump stock. You still can't shoot a bump stock. And you still can't make a bump stock. All those things are still illegal. But who cares about bump stocks anymore? When it first happened, everybody was upset. They went through all the stages of grief, and now people are like, bump stocks are stupid. We all knew what they really were. They were all gimmicks in the first place. It was an NFA workaround. Nobody really cares. Nobody got upset. And you know what? Pistol stabilizing braces are going to be the same way. Why? Because gun owners are different than the anti-gun crowd. Gun owners don't really get together and organize and fight these laws in the courts. They just expect other people to fight them for them. That's why those other gun YouTubers that have groundbreaking, huge update videos are just huge, because everyone watches those videos hoping that something major happened, that other people are doing the work for them. They don't have to get out and march in the streets, go down to their courthouses and hold up signs. They don't have to take days off of work to travel to Washington, D.C. and have a huge national gun rights march. They don't want to do that. They want somebody else to do that work for them. Now, the anti-gunners, they'll march in every state capital and demand gun control. They'll hold up signs. They won't go to work for months on end, and they'll even peacefully protest to get what they want. But gun owners, no. No, they won't. So that's where we're at. So you need to start asking yourself, where in the 5 stages of grief are you if you own a braced pistol? But now let's talk about some of the updates. Now, this is just stuff that I have heard and read about in various forums, like on Reddit when it comes to the NFA groups, or on Facebook groups that deal with NFA items. It appears that for the most part, people are getting their approvals anywhere between 45 and 90 days. And as more of these forms are pouring in, the wait times are getting longer and longer. And people that have talked to the ATF are saying, well, what if my gun isn't approved before the date? Well, all you have to do is show that you have applied. Just keep the applied application or the pending application. That's all you have to have in this interim period, and they're supposed to get around to it. Now, some people are saying, see, there's mass non-compliance. Only about 250,000 applications have been submitted, and the ATF says there's 4 million. That's mass non-compliance. Well, guess what? I have gotten about 20 or 30 emails in the past week, and I'm just a small channel of people that have found my videos going, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just discovered this. I had no idea. What do I do? They're emailing me and panicking. And if I'm a small channel that doesn't have a lot of traction and people are now just finding out about this rule change and what it means, well, what do you think that means for the population as a whole? There's a lot of people out there that have no idea about what's going on. And I think also a lot of people, because of many of these gun YouTubers, have been holding off and holding off and holding off and holding off. And now a decision has to be made. I can promise you right now, if you wait until May the 31st of 2023 and you're hoping for an injunction, it's not going to happen. If you're going to hold off and say, I'm going to wait until the last moment to register, the system will be down. Especially if you have never navigated the system before, you're not going to have all of your documents in order. You're not going to have any of your photos. You're not going to have your prints. You're not going to be able to submit any of it. And you're going to miss the deadline. I'm not telling you to do that, but if that's an option that you have decided for yourself, like, hey, I'm going to hold off as long as I can, well, it's coming down to the wire. And I know this is not a video that is going to be very popular and people are going to be very upset that I made it. But it's the 5 stages of grief. If you've ever had anything bad happen to you in life, or if you've ever lost a loved one or somebody that you care about, you've gone through these stages. Trust me, I know that I have. And the quicker you get to the end of these stages, the better. Now, as I said, I am not in any way endorsing any decision. I support you 100%. But you only have 10 days to get to this acceptance phase and decide what decision you're going to make. But that's all the updates I have. I'm not seeing mass disapprovals. We haven't seen the ATF going door to door to collect guns and say, you're a felon, you admitted to a felony. All the doom and gloom that all the other people we're talking about has not come to fruition. It just hasn't happened. And because so few people have applied, if there is this mass application, you might not be able to get yours in because the site will be down. And for those of you holding off saying, it's mass non-compliance, they can't enforce it. Well, it was mass non-compliance when it came to the bump stock ban as well. They said that there were 800,000 of those in circulation. I think the ATF got like 45 of them. And most of the ones that were turned in and destroyed were from distributors and manufacturers. They weren't from private citizens. And that's it. People got used to them and that ban and just said, hey, it's the way it is now. You don't hear anybody talk about them. Where'd those 800,000 bump stocks go? No idea. I have a feeling the same thing's going to happen with the pistol braces and the braced pistols. They're just going to disappear. Of course, they're going to be out there. But you have to make these decisions for yourself. And you can be upset with me. I'm not here to tell you that there's some type of groundbreaking, huge win, Supreme Court 6-3 decision strikes down pistol brace rule. I'm here to tell you the truth. You might not like the truth, but it doesn't mean it's not the truth nonetheless. So there you go. That's my last update video and the 5 stages of grief. And I hope it helps you reflect on your personal journey when it comes to all of this and what you're going to do. So if you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section below. You can also email me. I'll do my very best to get to all the emails. I can't promise I will. I do get a lot. But I hope these videos help somebody. And I'm sorry it's come to this. But we all knew it. We all knew this was an NFA workaround. It was in the gray area, and people flaunted it. You had gun YouTubers creating guns called the NFA Nut Kicker with as many items that were in this gray area as possible. What did you think was going to happen? Gun owners and manufacturers brought us to this point, and here we are. So I sure hope you get to the acceptance phase as quickly as possible and can make an informed decision without emotion, but instead using your brain. So, as always, thanks for watching.